Ford is targeting Tesla in a major move to compete using Tesla's own recipe, and now they got the numbers. I'll tell you about the numbers, the amazing side effect it's all going to bring to all of us, but also some concerns as many Ford dealers are not happy about this. Now, no one was more excited about this than the host of the State of Charge YouTube channel, Tom Moloughney, a few weeks ago when it was announced. As a matter of fact, he was there himself, but he's going to be here in a few minutes to tell us if he's still as psyched about it as he was back then. And of course, as always, we'll take questions from you, my live audience. And we're going to start right now. Welcome to E4 Electric. I am in Austin, Texas. I drove here a couple of days ago and I almost didn't make it, guys. As I checked out on my Airbnb in Oklahoma City, great place, by the way, I realized that my car was completely dead. So I was homeless and carless. But it was because of the most embarrassing reason an electric car can be dead. It was because of my 12-volt battery, which is another story why our big batteries need a small batteries to get started. We'll talk about it some other time. But it was dead. But I got a tow truck driver in there pretty quickly who hated California and electric cars, ironically so. And the dealer in Oklahoma City took care of everything. By the way, it was a software issue. And I was on my way to Austin, made it here safe and sound, and I'm now in my new Airbnb enjoying the much warmer weather. So I'll tell you a little bit more about Austin maybe next time. But let's get to the big Ford's news because they released some really big numbers. And now, see if you guys agree with me or not. But I've heard people say car dealers suck. Now, let me know right now in the comment section, or if you're watching me live in the live stream comments, because yes, the buying experience it might suck a little, but also dealerships have the demo cars and the test drives, and guess what? Sometimes you need a service center, and it's pretty cool when there's a lot of them. Like I just needed one in Oklahoma City, and everything was taken care of. They had, I believe, like 2 or 3 over there. So, in many reasons, they're maybe not that bad. But now Ford did something shocking and amazing a few months ago, and essentially tried to get their dealer model kind of merged with kind of almost online sales type of model that Tesla and Lucid have. So what they did, they basically gathered all of the dealers together in Vegas. Actually, Tom Moloughney, who's going to be here in a second, was there for that, and gave him the ultimatum. They said, listen, you either on board with this and then you have to invest some money and do many other things, or you're out. We're not going to give you any electric cars to sell. Now, granted, there's already lawsuits have been filed because this could be technically against the franchise law, right? Because every dealer is supposed to get the fair number allocated to them based on their sales, and Ford is saying no. Now, if you are out, you're out for at least 5 years. But if you're in, then you have 2 choices. You can be a regular certified dealership for electric cars. You'll have to install one DC fast charger, invest about $500,000, but then you get no demos. You will not have a Ford.com presence, and you will only be able to sell no more than 25 EVs per year, which is, but the elite certified level is way better, but you have to invest at least $1 million, installed 2 DC fast chargers, and then you get all of the perks that the regular certified dealers are not going to get. Now, a quick reminder that GM has already tried something very similar with their Cadillac dealers, right? They said, listen, if you're out, we're just going to buy you out. And about 150 dealerships said, okay, we are out. That was about 150, so it's about 20% of the Cadillac dealers, which wasn't too bad. But now the results are in for Ford, and the CEO of Ford announced what they are. So 2/3 of the dealers are in, and here's maybe even a more surprising number: 90% of them are going for the elite level. That means $1 million investment at least, and then two DC fast chargers. Now, at the same time, if my math is wrong, and I don't know where my calculator went, but 1/3 of the dealers, which is a lot for Ford, that's over 1,000 dealerships, said we are out, and we don't. You can take your electric cars and shove it up your like electric port. So it's I don't know which one is a bigger news, and we'll definitely run this by Tom. But at the same time, there was a very interesting side effect that happened, because essentially, if you have almost 2,000 dealers installing, pretty much mainly two DC fast chargers, that will make Ford the largest DC fast charging network in the United States as far as the number of locations. Of course, one or two DC fast chargers is nothing compared to at least four that Electrify America and a lot of EVgo and definitely Tesla superchargers have. But as far as locations is concerned, Ford is going to be the leader in that. Now, it's going to take about a year. They're supposed to get it done by the end of the next year, but nevertheless. So, like I said, Tom was there in person at their meeting in Las Vegas. And Tom, let's talk about this. First of all, welcome back to the channel. But let me ask you this: are you surprised by the numbers? And if so, which part? The ones that the dealers that joined, or the dealers that said no?
So I can't say that I'm surprised, Alex, because shortly after this happened, I said publicly that I expect between 60 and 70% of the dealers to sign on. And we are 65%. I couldn't have been more accurate. So I figured this is how it was going to shake out. I think most dealers understand that the industry is transitioning to electric vehicles. I think that they see the writing on the wall. They were flat out told this by Ford that, look, this is where we're going. This is where the whole industry is going. So you absolutely need to take this seriously and transition. So I'm not surprised at all. And you have to understand, this is for a 3-year period. This first wave of Ford Model E, if you're going to be a certified elite or a certified Model E dealership, this is going to go from January 1st, 2024 through January 1st, 2027. It's not like the dealers could never sell electric cars. At some point in 2025, Ford is going to reach out to the dealers and say, okay, you're out until January 1st, 2027. Who now wants to join the second wave, which will be 2027 through 2020, so through 2030. So what I would imagine you're going to see is the vast majority of dealers that have not signed on now are going to sign up for that next wave. They're going to kick the can down the road a little bit.
All right, now, but let me ask you this. Okay, but why not do this? I mean, the future is obviously electric. Even if you don't like electric cars, like my truck driver in Oklahoma City, you kind of know that this is where Ford is going. This is where the laws are going. Why resist?
Well, there could be, there's a number of reasons, and I think they're good reasons. Let's say you have a Ford dealership in a very rural part of the country. As a matter of fact, when I went out to the Ford dealers, when I went out to the annual dealer meeting where Ford told their dealers this, I spoke to a dozen dealers, and most of them were all on board. But I did speak to a couple that say, I think we're going to pass on the first 3 years, then maybe sign up in 2027 when electric vehicle adoption is higher. Because some of these dealers that live in really rural areas of the country are saying, look, I sell like one EV a year. It's not worth it for me to make this whole investment now. Let me wait until electrification catches up to our area, and then we'll join in. We're not saying we don't want to sell EVs. What we're saying is right now, for the next couple of years, it's not going to be as big a percentage of our overall portfolio that warrants a big investment.
All right. Still, 5 years is long term. But okay, so let's talk about, now quite a few dealers are suing Ford, which, by the way, sounds kind of reasonable because, franchise, you may not like franchise, laws, but they say that every dealer is entitled to the inventory. But we'll let the judges and juries decide that. But at the same time, Why sue? Like, what are you suing for? If you want to sell electric cars, I think this deal is very reasonable. This is an investment you're going to need to make no matter what when you are selling and, most importantly, servicing electric cars. Why not just walk away for 5 years? But why the lawsuits?
Well, people don't like to be told what they have to do, and the dealers have been operating for years with very little influence by the OEMs. These dealer franchise laws are very strict, and basically, the dealers are their own private businesses, and there's very little that the OEM can do to the dealer as far as telling them what they need to do. And now here's Ford coming in and saying, you have to have set pricing. You have to install this charging infrastructure. You have to buy all this expensive equipment to service these vehicles. Well, that last part's not that unusual, because when new vehicles come out that have special service needs, the dealers have to purchase that equipment. But the point of the matter is, Ford's coming out and saying, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this, or we're going to withhold inventory. And I think on principle, the dealers are saying, hey, wait a minute, I think you're pushing the limits of what you're allowed to legally do. So we're going to challenge it. And I think that's all it is. I'm sure Ford has done a tremendous amount of research on this. And I would bet that they're confident that their decisions and the rules that they set forth for Model E are going to stand up in court.
All right, now let's talk about the charging network, which is gonna looks like become the largest one. Do you think the network is really going to do that much good? I mean, obviously better than nothing, but having one or two stalls is very limiting. Like, I'm traveling right now and relying on Electrify America greatly, and for me, when I see a location having only two chargers available, I was like, oh, there's got to be a line. Is this really going to be an effective network?
Well, here's the thing. Ford doesn't think that they're in competition with Electrify America or EVgo. They're not trying to build out a network that their customers will solely rely on. And if you look at it through those shades, you see how it will be worthwhile. They're just adding to what's existing, Alex. And the fact of the matter is, I forget the exact statistics, but I think they told us something like 95% of Americans live within 20 miles of a Ford dealership, okay? 15 miles or something like that. So I think what Ford was trying to do with this, by making the dealers install these DC fast chargers, is ensure their customers that no matter where they live, there'll be a DC fast charger within 10 or 15 miles of their house. They're not using this network as saying, oh, don't worry, all you have to do is use the Ford network. It's going to be in emergencies. It's going to be if you need to. And it would be a resource for people if, let's say, they have an apartment and they live 5 miles from the DC fast charge network. They can't charge at home. Ford's going to say, well, you can stop by once a week, like you go to a gas station once a week and plug in and come inside and have a cup of coffee and and hang out here for a little bit and let your vehicle charge up so you have enough energy for the week. This isn't competition for Electrify America, Alex. It's just there to add more plugs across the whole country in areas where the infrastructure companies like EVgo, ChargePoint, Electrify America are underserving because there's not a lot of people in those areas.
Yeah, so actually, let me extend my question. As a matter of fact, EV Road Trips in the chat already kind of asked it for me. So here it is. He says, Ford dealerships are in place where people live, so the network will be worthless for road trips in the West. Is there some truth to that? Because I just drove through half of the country already. I do see dealerships like in between destinations in the smaller towns, but also, is there still some use for it? Like, for example, if you live in an apartment complex and you most likely don't have your own, this is where you can charge in your neighborhood.
Yeah. So the point of the matter is, like I said, Ford's not trying to enable coast to coast driving with these DC fast chargers. They're not trying to build out a comprehensive network that everybody can do everything with. They're just trying to add more points where people can plug in. And I don't think it's any OEM's job to light up the whole country with DC fast chargers or any charging network. But I do think it's these OEMs' jobs to contribute to what's going on out there with the big boys, with the charge points, Electrify America's EV Goes, all those. And in that light, you can't knock what Ford's doing here. They're going to have a lot of DC fast charge points, a few thousand of them scattered around the country to supplement what the big infrastructure companies are doing. So, I don't think you could knock them and say, oh, this isn't going to help me drive from New York to California. It's not designed to do that.
All right. Now, Eric has an interesting question. I'm pretty sure I know the answer, but why don't you take this one, Tom? Eric says, he asks, is Ford or the dealers going to bill the car owners for the charge? And I'm going to add to that. Are we only talking about Ford owners, or will or you, Volkswagen owner, or Rivian owner, can get in there and charge as well?
So number one, to answer your question, Alex, everyone will be allowed to use the chargers. They're open to the public. They're open to the public, and the dealership cannot restrict their use. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is Ford isn't going to bill anybody. Ford doesn't own these charging stations. They don't manage them. These are owned by the dealers, and they're on the dealers' properties. So the dealer will set the rules as far as what the cost is. The dealers can set up the chargers to say, our customers charge for free. If you bought your EV here, you can charge for free. But if Alex pulls in with his ID4, he's going to pay, 50 cents a kilowatt hour or whatever. So the dealers do get to set the rate, and they should be able to, because they're investing all this money in it. But they have to be open to the public.
Okay, let's see. Pete here says the DC fast chargers will get bodies in the showrooms. There's some truth to that, right? I mean, at one point, if I'm a Ford customer, I'm like, wait, but I paid for this fast charger, so obviously, why is this dude Alex and his, crappy Volkswagen ID4 is charging? But on the other hand, Ford can say, yeah, but we're putting your dollars as advertising dollars, because Alex is going to come in and see how the Ford Mustang Mach-E doesn't run out of the 12-volt battery, or has better software than ID4. Is that part of their plan, you think?
So Alex, as you know, I've talked to your audience about this before. One of the things that I haven't done too much anymore, is I work with dealerships. I train dealers on how to better sell electric vehicles. And I don't just work with their sales staff. I talk to management. And one of the things that I have consistently said that the dealers need to do is install charging infrastructure on their property. Why is that? And have it open to the public, because they have a captured customer. When you're pull into that lot with your ID4 to this Ford lot, right? You plug in your ID4, even if it's a DC fast charger. Let's face it, you're going to be there at least 20 minutes, maybe a half an hour, maybe 45 minutes. And I always said, put proper signage up that says, come inside, while you enjoy the charge, come inside, have a cup of coffee, in our service department. And you know what? It gets Alex walking through this Ford dealership, looking around, saying, hey, you know what? That, Lightning is pretty damn nice. And, or whatever cars they're selling. Be friendly, plant seeds. And yeah, if you're just passing through the state, Alex, you're not going to end up buying a car there. But somebody that lives locally that maybe drives an Ioniq 5 or an EV, and they come into that dealership to plug in, get some electrons. The people are friendly. They say, yeah, have a cup of coffee in our service department. Is there anything we can help you with? Do you want to take a look at our Lightning? I tell you, while you're here charging up, you want to take the Lightning for a test drive? What's that doing? It's making you feel good about this dealership. And you know what? A year or so down the road, when you're looking for a new EV, you might go back because it was a good experience.
Yeah. Now, Sir John, as probably many people can echo this, and let me know, guys, in once again in the live chat, he says, yes, I hate car dealers. Now, everybody would agree with a statement like this, but at the same time, do you think that car dealers are still important? Very much so, because you've experienced Tesla service and Ford service and Rivian, and I just experienced one from Volkswagen. As much as I hate the fact that I'm having all these issues, but the fact that I was able to get to one of 3 service centers within 10 miles from me, and they were able to take me in, they had the staff, they had the equipment, and off I went. There is something to that. That's important. So how do we deal with this? Like, I mean, on one hand, we hate it. On one hand, we really need them.
Yeah, so I've like you, I've read all the comments here in many places where people say, I hate dealers. Dealers are going away as a dinosaur. Dealers will be gone soon. That's not happening, guys. Dealers are here and they're not going away. And that's not a terrible thing. We should improve the dealership model rather than say, oh, direct sales are the only way to go. Well, even direct sales, some people like to kick the tires. Some people like to test drive the cars. And some people actually like to talk to a salesman to help inform them on the car. Now, I know most people do a lot of research online now. They go in knowing the vehicle, but not everybody. Some people like the salesperson to tell them. Dealers haven't been the best place to visit. I don't like going to the dealership, quite honestly. I mean, I'm much more comfortable with it now, but some dealers do very poor job at what they're supposed to. But we need to improve that. The dealer franchise laws in this country are so strict, they're not going away, I'm telling you. Not for a very, very long time. So what we need to do is try to improve that experience. And I think Ford nailed it with this new Model E experience. Ford came up with the most brilliant way to improve the dealerships as far as I'm concerned. And, with this set pricing model that we haven't talked about yet here, Alex, that's enormous, that the dealers have to set pricing and post it on Ford's website, not their individual website. It has to be posted on Ford's website. And then you can easily go there and compare the price for your local 3 or 4 dealerships and say, oh, this one's $1,000 more. I'm going to go buy it there. Just the fact that you can do that is going to force the dealers to look at their competition and set very competitive prices. It's going to lower the price for everybody, no haggle pricing. And and the fact that Ford's making the dealers only do this on their electric vehicles. The dealers are willing to accept it right now because in the back of the minds, they say, well, our EVs only represent 5 or 10% of our sales. Maybe in 10 years, they're going to represent 20 or 30% of our sales. They don't realize how this is going to transition so quickly. And in 15 years from now, it's going to be nearly 100% of their sales. And all of Ford will have set pricing. So I think it was brilliantly done by Ford. And I guarantee you the other established OEMs are going to follow suit and do something similar to this.
Now, here's an interesting one. Richard says, did Tom just say the dealers are going to maintain the chargers? Do they have the technicians to fix them when they break? I'm assuming the answers are yes. Correct me if I'm wrong. But the last question is actually more interesting. Will they have software to let you know if it is in use and working, which I found very important when I travel and try to pick the location where I'm going to charge next?
Okay, so I'll talk about the software first. I am not certain that will happen. I haven't asked for it yet, but I will talk to them about that. It makes sense. And a lot of the new charging equipment, the network charging equipment at least, does give you that opportunity to see if they're in use. So that's a good question. I'll see if I can get the answer from Ford. But as far as service, Ford proper will know when chargers aren't working. Because they will have, they'll be able to oversee the network. They'll get an alert that a charging station is broken or not working, and they will call the dealer and ask the dealer, have you scheduled to have this fixed yet? And the dealers will have service contracts with companies that will come out and fix them. And I asked Ford about this specifically when we were at the dealer meeting. And I said, so many of the dealerships, when they break the chargers, they just never fix them. They just add, there's no return on investment. I'm not going to spend $1,000 to fix that thing. And it just sits, especially some of the first generation DC fast chargers that were in Nissan dealerships for years. They never worked. But Ford promised me, they said that is not going to happen with this. They will literally yank the Model E license from the dealer. It's like it's in their contract. If they don't have a certain uptime, if they don't keep the dealers working, they don't get EVs to sell.
All right, now here's a very interesting one, because one of the things I know you like about this deal is that there will be no haggle pricing, right? Each dealer will have to set one price and stick with it. It's kind of almost like a silent auction between the car dealers in the area. But Cake Batter here says dealers historically sell vehicles below MSRP. So I have to say that on one hand, it's great to have one price. And I'm quite sure that much like a lot of other industries, the dealerships will have a certain price they will probably mainly agree on, and there's going to be that much of a difference, obviously. But I also enjoy maybe coming into a dealership that maybe is a little bit hard up for cash right now, or one wants to set some sort of a sales goal to get some incentives from the Ford, the mothership, and they're willing to give me a better price. Well, in those cases, they will not even be able to do that, and I, as a consumer, will lose out on savings. What do you say to that side of this advantage?
So two things. Number one, you can't have it both ways. You can't complain that dealers charge 10,000 over MSRP and then in the same sentence say, "Yeah, but I want to pay 10,000 less than MSRP if it's a car that they can't get off the lot." So you can't have it both ways. But number two, I'm sure the dealers will be able to change the prices. I don't know how frequently. Like, let's say you set the Ford F-150 Lightning, for 1,000 under MSRP, and it's listed on Ford's website. And then the dealer realizes they've got like 10 of them on the lot. They're not selling, and they have 15 more coming next month. They can log into Ford's website and lower the price and sell it for less, but it has to be established and set on Ford's website. Now, I'm sure they can't do this every day and keep changing the prices. I don't know how frequently they're allowed to change prices. Ford hasn't released that yet, but I'm sure they're going to be allowed to change the prices as long as it's listed on Ford's website and clear for everybody to see.
All right, now here's a question that I think is on a lot of people's minds, right? On one hand, of course, we don't care about these dealers as businesses technically. I mean, I care about more about customers and the service. But Zorg is saying dealers won't make any money on EVs as they won't be able to sell useless service plans nor make money off maintenance. Now, this is a question that's been around for a while. How will dealerships make money on EVs if their main source of income, which is maintenance, is essentially going away?
So yeah, the service departments are going to take a little bit of a hit. There's no two ways about it. But it's not like EVs require absolutely no maintenance, and it's not like they don't break. Things still break.
Mine does.
Yeah. So I mean, look at you, Alex. Things still break. They still wear out tires. As a matter of fact, tires on EVs wear out more frequently, maybe as much as 25% sooner than they do on conventional ICE vehicles because they work harder. Number one, the vehicles are heavier. Number two, with regenerative braking and instant torque, where the vehicles accelerate harder, the tires work harder. So, yes, this is going to be something that the dealers are going to have to work through. I can't, I don't have a business plan for the dealers to figure out how they're going to lose that income on tune-ups and oil changes, but they're going to have to figure that out, and there's going to be less service revenue, but it's not like it goes away. The cars still break, and components still need service, and maybe they'll sell service packages or something like service plans or something that we hear even Mercedes talked about now selling like ongoing service. Maybe we're going to have something like that the dealers are going to get a piece of, where you like subscribe to certain features that the car has. The whole industry is getting turned upside its head right now, Alex. So it's hard to tell exactly where they're going to make up that money.
Yeah, honestly, I think I called it several years ago, because I think the dealerships are going to make money exactly what you just mentioned. They're going to upsell digital services. Some of them would be what Tesla is doing, upselling their software, which is the full self-driving package. Everybody else will probably do the same thing. I think Tesla and a few others are now upselling their, you can increase the power of the car if you pay extra money. So that's something that dealers can make money on. And there are service and maintenance plans still available for electric vehicles because some service is required. I also bought this insurance on my lease because I'm leasing my ID4, where up to $10,000 worth of wear and tear, which does include tires, will be forgiven when I return it, and I pay a little bit extra in that. So I'm sure the dealership made money on that as well. Now, here's an interesting comment from, and this is to extend what you were saying, Tom, from a very abominable. There are still plenty of cars in Tesla service base, which is very true. To make an appointment, I mean, my friend who has been having a lot of issues with her Model Y after she bought it several weeks ago. She said that it was 3 weeks worth of wait. So there's definitely a lot to be serviced.
Yeah, there'll still be plenty of money to be made on service. Some of the routine things that are really gravy jobs that they make a lot of money though will go away, like oil changes and tune-ups. That stuff's going to go away. But the cars are still going to break. There's still a lot of components in the cars, and they're going to have to be repaired. So that's they'll figure out a way to make money. And who knows? Maybe they'll sell like electric vehicle stuff, like home charging equipment, connectors, adapters, extension cords. They might shift their whole parts department to selling things that EVs need. So they'll figure it out.
Here's an interesting comment that you're absolutely going to love, Tom. So enjoy while you can. From Melody of 1974, which actually is a very frequent contributor and viewer of the live stream. He says, or she says, probably her, gotta love Tom for his knowledge and gotta love Alex for his hair. I will take it. And obviously this is a good product placement for Bosley. But, I spent 2 days researching this, putting it together, outlining everything for like 10 minutes before I brought you in, and you get all the credits, Tom. But at the same time, I do agree with the comment.
Well, the E4Electric community should know that Alex tees up questions for me so I look good. So it's not all me. Not that we go over this. We don't. I know what the topic's going to be, but we don't go over what questions he's going to ask me ahead of time. But, the whole point of this back and forth is Alex asks me questions that he knows I'll answer well, and he makes me look good.
Yeah, and honestly, I do this with all of my guests. The thing is there's no point of me giving the information that I already have a guest to give the same information, right? It's not that I go like, oh my God, Tom, what do we do here? You know what I mean? But it's my job as a host. I feel it makes me a better host when I let my guests give the information because that's what they're here for. But listen, I will take the compliment for my hair, so I'm perfectly fine. And Tom, I already told you many times, I think you should be by far the biggest EV journalist and definitely biggest YouTuber. You've been around longer than most of us. You've been driving electric cars for longer than most of us. And I already told you, I think you're the most fair and unbiased journalist in the entire industry. So I will take this comment any day. And because I do work on my hair, and I'm so glad that I still have some left. All right. Listen, let's move on. Okay, well, so by the way, comment from Dave C, which is very true. Dealers can sell tires. I just bought one from Volkswagen dealership because there was nothing available. I was stuck before I was stuck in Oklahoma City. I was stuck in Las Vegas because my tire went bad, and the discount tire or American tire company, depending on where you live, didn't have them until like a week from then. Ironically, the nearest tire was in Atlanta, Georgia, my actual destination of this whole US tour, as I call it. And I had to go to the Volkswagen dealer and buy one for like $300. So absolutely. And they certainly can sell you a 12 volt battery, as I just found out. So
Alex, by the way, I want to comment. I want to comment on one of the comments.
Okay, so, which one? I'll pick one.
So the Detroit Micro Sound writes nothing like Electric Viking. So I have to just comment on that because, and I like Electric Viking. He's got a YouTube channel. He does a good job. But a couple of weeks ago, he took one of the articles I wrote for Inside EVs and he literally read it word for word online and like it was his own words. And I had about 20 people message me and say, hey, do you know Electric Viking just literally read your article and like claimed it was like his words, like you should contact him. And I never did, but like, that wasn't cool. you could read my article Inside EVs and maybe comment on it, but don't read it word for word like it's your thoughts, dude. Like that's like, I love what you're doing over there. I think you're doing a great job, but like I had 20 people email me and message me and they're like, I just read your article and then I heard his article and I'm like, that sounds familiar. So I went back and looked at it and it was word for word. So
well, I'll save you some time. I'll save you some time, Tom, because I have actually, so he used one of my videos about ID4 and my issues with it, and he did a video about it. And I was like, well, actually, why don't we? I'll be more than happy to come on and talk to you on your channel about some of the things you missed, because he's a huge. By the way, you said he's doing a job. He's doing a horrible job because he
Oh,
is a
the
Tesla
videos I watched,
fanboy.
it seemed like it was decent news.
He's a Tesla fanboy, and basically any chance he gets to crap on other EVs, he does. As a matter of fact, I am now, because as I was looking at what other YouTubers, mainly Tesla YouTubers, were saying about the Tesla semi-truck delivery event, I found out an enormous amount of misinformation on the subject, and what the hell is going on? I'm actually making a video showcasing what they say in their videos, including him, and their audiences are eating it up, and how untrue it is in real life. As a matter of fact, one of them is Now You Know, which really could be EPR department for Tesla if they ever wanted one. And because we're friendly, they've been on my show several times. I've been on their show a couple of times, and I emailed them and I said, hey guys, this is just shamelessly wrong. And they're like, whoa, what did we get wrong? And I gave them the list, and I said, this and this is just factually untrue. And they never got back to me. So trust me, he will be featured on my channel very quickly. He's not doing a good job, and I tried reaching out to him and talking to him, but he didn't want to talk to me either. I have a feeling there is a good reason why. It's a shame, but that's the world we live in.
Well, you know what? Just move on. I try not to sweat that. I laughed. I didn't even reach out to him, but like I said, I had like 20 people message me, and they're like, "That's not cool. You need to tell him he can't do that."
Yeah,
I'm not going to sweat it.
Yeah. What is it called? The imitation is the best way of flattery.
Form of flattery.
Okay, yeah, probably screwed it up. By the way, Detroit Microsound says Tesla fanboy hardcore. I bet Elon pays him directly. No, so no, that is not true either. As a matter of fact, Tesla does not pay anybody directly for anything. They do pay him indirectly because all of them own Tesla stock, and I think that's another thing that a lot of them don't disclose, that they have a financial benefit directly, to talk positively about Tesla. At least when I am sponsored by an automaker, it is all over my channel. You know exactly who I'm taking money from, when and how it affects my opinion. So, but with these guys, they are getting paid. But I just want to say that they're definitely, no one's paying them directly. Trust me. All right.
Let's move on to the news. We did enough sidebars.
Yeah, we did enough. Yes. All right. Somebody says, Tom, Cake Batter says, Tom, don't feed the petty stuff and don't pet the sweaty stuff. All right. Fair enough. I never heard of that saying, Tom, but, by the way, let's just get back to a second to my problems here, because, how ridiculous. So and you probably heard me, and I actually didn't even share this with you before the stream. I ended up with my 12-volt battery completely shutting down on me, and my car not being able to start and all of that stuff. I need to research this, but no matter what I found out, don't you think that having a one little battery to be able to start the bigger battery is ridiculous? And the fact that the bigger battery can recharge the smaller battery when it needs to be recharged, is this just a complete failure of engineering and design on everyone's part?
Well, it does charge the 12-volt battery, the high voltage battery.
Not in my case. I mean, how did my 12-volt battery die then? Because it was dying over like.
But batteries die, Alex. Batteries, batteries refuse to take a charge after a certain period of time. When I had my BMW i3s, both of them, the 12-volt battery failed, and it's a weak point in EVs, because they put in tiny little 12-volt batteries. If you notice, your battery isn't anywhere near as big, and robust as a 12-volt battery in a gas car is, Alex. And they fail. They don't last as long. I mean, it's a soft point with all EVs.
Well, I understand. But first of all, my car is only a year and a half old. Secondly, my big battery did not charge my. And by the way, when I went to the dealership, it
charges it normally, Alex. Otherwise, what charges it? Does it just get charged when you charge the car? Because how does it charge then? It doesn't have an alternator.
Yeah, well, but what I'm saying is if I have an enormous battery with all of this energy and my tiny little battery that's responsible for starting my car and keeping it alive is low in charge, that energy, I don't care how, needs to go and recharge the little 12-volt battery that's essentially what you need to keep the car alive. The fact that that's not figured out is ridiculous. And by the way, my 12-volt battery was not bad. They did not replace it at the dealership. The problem, I guess, was with the software. But nevertheless, why the hell do we even need the 12-volt battery, and why is it not working?
Well, you need it to, if first of all, if your high voltage battery is exhausted, you need it to be able to turn the car on. You need to unlock the doors. When unless you would have your high voltage battery constantly, wasting energy to be ready to unlock the doors and turn itself on. So, I mean, I'm not an engineer on this, but I know for sure the way EVs are currently, the architecture is they absolutely require a 12-volt battery to do the little stuff like to unlock the doors and do things like that. And also, especially if you run your battery down and you completely exhaust it, you'd be locked out of the car. You'd have to break the window to get in.
Well, but I can tell you, my car was fully charged. Tom, honestly, there was no excuse for this crappy incident that is a failure of technology. And I think Tesla and I think a couple of other manufacturers are moving away from even having a 12-volt battery. I can tell you
No
this
EV, there's not a single EV that doesn't have one right now.
Yeah, but it needs to happen. This is just embarrassing. Let me really quickly address this. Nick Rossi says, go take a ride in your ID4. You're rambling again. I love when haters watch me anyway. Now, AJ, let's kick him out. Obviously, we don't really want little children here.
Don't kick him out.
Of course we're gonna kick him out. If you're gonna be acting like a, yeah, if you're gonna be acting like a 5-year-old, you're gonna have to have your mom pick you up and do your homework at home. This
maybe
is
just instead of kicking him out, just put him on in a corner for 15 minutes.
Fine, let's put him in a corner like a little baby that he is. Okay, there's a feature for that.
And
AJ.
the comments, Alex. Sometimes you can't tell how somebody like what they mean with a comment. Like, that could have been made
not
to
okay.
laugh. I know. I don't know.
All right.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm over it.
So, let's go back to Ford. We got way sidetracked.
Yeah, hold on a second. Before we go there, I remember I pinned this one. Okay, well, let me show you this one. Let's see. Love you both. Really enjoyed the videos. Education, mate. Okay, yeah, that's the one. I didn't even click on it, but it came up. It says, "Hi guys, love you both. Awesome. Really enjoy the videos and the education. My issue out here in California is that I would love to have an EV, but getting on the list and or staying up to snuff on the info. I mean, Tom, what can we tell people who are, are having a hard time shopping for an electric vehicle right now?
So I'm not 100% clear what that issue is. I'd love to have an EV, but getting on the list, you mean because there's not enough supply? You can't get the list to get one, or staying up to snuff on the info. You don't really need that much info. I mean, it's not that much different than owning a regular car. The biggest difference is the charging, and there's a lot of resources out there like that YouTube channel called State of Charge that can help you figure out how to charge your EV. So, I mean, I don't think it's that much of a leap where you have to be so prepared to do it. You need to figure out where you're going to plug in. That's important. But other than that, just go buy one and you'll figure it out. It's not that hard.
All right. Well, so let's get back to Ford. I feel like there's something you still want to add about the topic that we kind of conveniently went away from.
No, I just wanted to, I just want to stress, and I said it earlier, how important I think it is for the whole industry that Ford took this step, because all the manufacturers want to sell direct, but they can't. And they have to figure out a way that we can evolve from the current dealership model to a dealership model that better suits the customer, that provides a better experience when you go to the dealership. Because you see from the comments you have here, and we see them everywhere else, many people hate going to a dealership, and there's good reasons why. But there's also good reasons to still have dealers, and having that local resource for you to be able to take your vehicle for service, to go talk about the next cars that are coming that maybe people don't do the research online. They can go talk to somebody. I think if we just improve the dealership model, set pricing is a huge advantage. And also buried in the details of this Ford's deal is you never have to actually go to a dealer if you don't want to. Never. And it's not just the purchase. You can order it online through Ford.com dealership. And then you can select to have it delivered to your house. So you don't even have to go to a dealer to pick it up. And the dealers have to agree to have a drop off and pickup service. So if they sell you, if the car comes from whatever dealership, and now a month or two down the road, 3 months, 6 months, whatever, you need service for it, they have to come and pick it up at your house and drop it off if you select that option. So the way this whole thing is structured, if you never want to go to the dealer, you don't ever have to go. You can order it online. You can pay for it online. You can have it delivered to your house. If there's service needed, you can have them come and pick it up and drop it off, or they'll have a mobile service come to your house and work on it on your driveway. So, this is huge. And the fact that they're forcing their dealers to do this, they're not saying, well, you can do this if you want to. It's like, no, if you want to sell these cars, you have to agree to all these things. I think that's enormous. I think it took brass cojones for Ford to do this. And I'm really happy that they went in this direction.
I would agree with you. But let me ask you a question. This is a question from me to you. How is it we spend 45 minutes on and off, obviously conceding that dealerships can do better, but also pointing out some really major advantages they do have over Tesla and Rivian and Lucid and so forth, and still get comments like this and get comments like this? I mean, I don't know if I think this frustration I have in general, I can make a video and present two sides and say, hey guys, none of the issues are really just one way. Tesla does not 100% suck. Tesla is not 100% a perfect car maker. The truth and the reality is in between. And you present both sides, and then a bunch of people go like, but this one side is 100% correct. I mean, literally, I don't know if these people didn't own cars like Tesla and Lucid and Rivian and don't know that sometimes you can't get to a service center that's maybe 200 miles away, or you can't get an appointment because there's only one in town and they're overwhelmed. Where when you have a dealership with service centers, there's tons of them. There's 3,000 of them from Ford, where Rivian has 30. You know what I mean? I just don't understand how do we still get these comments? Any idea what are we not doing this right?
Yeah, because dealers there's a lot of bad actors out there. There's a lot of dealers that have done a bad job. There's a lot of dealers that have given people good reason to not like them. And that's not going to change overnight. And, but we're stuck with them. As I've been saying, you can complain all you want. We are stuck with dealers. They're not going away. The laws are too strict here. So what can we do? Well, we could try to make the dealership experience better. And anybody who thinks what Ford's doing here isn't really good, that is just, they don't understand the facts. They don't understand the industry. This is enormous what Ford's doing. If Ford can pull it off, and we still don't know that, because as you said, they're being sued. The dealers are, this isn't, it's not a fait accompli. But if they can execute this properly, this is going to be a model that GM's going to take on, that Chrysler Dodge is going to take on, and we're gonna and the other OEMs here in the U.S. will have to follow suit, because they're going to elevate the customer experience. And I think it's really important that we I'm supporting Ford 100% in it, because I think they went as far as they could. They couldn't push the dealers to improve any more than they did with this legally. And I think it's a huge step in the right direction. But the dealers, they have reason to the people have reason to not like dealers. Listen, before you cut in, I mean, I've had terrible experiences at dealerships, all right, in the past. I've had really bad, but I've had good experience. I'll give you one example. I had a 1999 Honda Civic, and the transmission went at 61,000 miles, and it had a 50,000 mile powertrain warranty. So basically, I was SOL, and it was only like 2 years old, because at the time I was driving like 28,000 miles a year. So here I got a 2-year-old Honda Civic with a blown transmission. It was like $2,000 to replace it, and I was not happy. Went to the dealer, and I had bought 3 or 4 cars from them before. They went to bat for me. They went, and it took like 3 weeks, but they had their zone rep come out and everything. They got Honda to cover the warranty for me and saved me like $2,000. And I mean, it was like the 5th car I bought from this dealership. So they went and did this for me. If that was, say, Tesla or an OEM that you're dealing with directly, no chance you're getting that. So the dealers can play roles. They can fight and lobby the OEM on your behalf. They can say, look, this is a great customer. He's bought a ton of cars from us. We've got to help him out. Forget about it. If you roll into a Tesla dealership with an out of warranty claim, you're not even getting a clip, a sun visor clip without paying for it.
Yeah, and so you just explained this. I just told everybody my good experience with the dealership, because they took me in and fixed everything within like 30 minutes. And here's a comment that, and let me take this one, because I know you don't want to be this mean, but I will be. From Alexa Pro, the experience is so nauseating at dealerships. I am seriously considering a Tesla as my only choice for my next car, just to avoid 3 hours of pure misery. Alexa Pro, this is an extremely, I'm going to try to choose nice words. Dumb. It's a nicer word that I choose. Dumb and uneducated statement. You're going to yes, no question about it. Those 3, 4, 5, 6 hours are not fun. However, you are going to pay for it, especially with Tesla. Stop listening to the Tesla fanboys. Look and talk to the regular people. Join a Facebook group or Reddit, where you will see how many issues Tesla owners, and I used to be one, Tommy used to be one, have, and how many hours and days and weeks sometimes they have to wait to get the service appointment, or wait for a part to come in. And then, Tesla's not going to pay for your loaner a lot of times. So you will be in much more misery for way more hours, for me, way more weeks and months sometimes. I can give you an example that just happened 2 days ago, where my friend just got a Model Y. It had a bunch of issues. One of them, with the heater stopped working. And she lives in San Francisco, and that's a problem, because it's really cold in San Francisco right now, my friend. And then they went to the dealership, and the dealership said, nope, everything is working fine. And finally she said, no. She escalated the issue, and they said, you know what, you're right. We looked into it, and we determined your heater is not working properly, even though all they had to do was literally do this and test it out and see that it's not working properly. Now there's going to be wait for the part. Now there's going to be wait for just the technicians that are overwhelmed and so forth. So I don't understand, Alexa Pro, why you don't want to sacrifice those 3 hours of pure misery, why you want to exchange it for hours, weeks, days, and years sometimes of much more crappier misery. I don't understand it. You're either dumb or you're not educated at all, and it's not that hard to get you educated. So I'm going to go ahead and combine those two, my friend. And please educate yourself before you make a bad decision. Go into the Tesla groups, talk to the Tesla owners. Don't hear it from myself. You can call me a Tesla hater all you want or whatever. Hear it directly from them. The reason I stopped buying Teslas were not Elon Musk or the pricing or the even quality of the car. It was absolutely insultingly unacceptable service. So please educate yourself. This comment is unacceptably bigoted. So please don't do that. Tom, anything to add before we start wrapping things up? My producer tells me we have 5 minutes left before I'm able to take my high blood pressure medication.
Sure. No, I'll just comment on a couple of the comments. So LJ wrote, I can't find it now. That dealer still made money off the manufacturer. You're 100% right. They were but they didn't make more money. They were either going to get paid by me or by Honda. So I needed a new transmission. It was sitting in their bay with the transmission dropped. They were getting paid. So it was either from me or from Honda, and they got Honda to cover it. So, to me, and then there was one more. Your stance is the dealership helped the company that should have been replaced under warranty anyway. You didn't hear what I said. No, it shouldn't have been replaced under warranty. The warranty was expired. When I bought the vehicle, I agreed to a 50,000-mile warranty, and that was over. That was over by 20%. I was 10,000 miles beyond it, but the dealer did lobby on my behalf and got it covered. So, listen, guys, personally, I love direct sales. If the dealers switch to this model, I'll order it online. I'll have it delivered to my house. I won't even visit the dealership. But what we're talking about here is, it's folly if you think that they're just going to go away. You're just uneducated and you don't understand the industry. They're not going away. We have to improve that service and make it a better experience.
All right, Tom, listen, as always, it was great to have you on the channel with a lot of wisdom to add to my great haircut. So I will talk to you. I have one guest next week. I probably didn't even tell you. I'm just telling you now. I have this. Yeah, I'll tell you. I know.
You're but kicking me off.
No, okay. So actually, on my way to Austin, I stopped by in Dallas to talk to this kid. He runs this tech channel Instagram account called Tech Balloon, and I wanted to go over, I wanted to do this for a long time, like the best and coolest 5 tech news of the year, and he does that on his Instagram. So I wanted to invite him, give you a break, from me and my hair, maybe get a haircut of your own, who knows, and then I'll bring you back, of course, in a couple of weeks. But you're welcome here at any time, Tom.
Okay, guys. So I want everybody to understand, Alex is kicking me off the show next week. I won't be here. So
all right, okay. Well,
next week, no likes on his video.
You can still come in and comment on a foldable iPhones and stuff like that. I'm not really sure if you can stand it though. But all right, listen, Tom.
Guys, take care. This was fun.
All right. Okay, guys, if you have not subscribed to Tom's channel, that should be against the law, because if you're interested in electric cars, especially things like driving tests to see how many actual miles the car gets and what kind of charger to get and just information about charging, Tom is literally have no competition in that niche. You got to subscribe. The link to his channel is already in the description of this video. My producer AJ already posted once. He's probably going to do it again. But thank you so much for everybody who's been watching and even talking smack to me. I always enjoy that. It's not an E4 Electric live stream without one. So I will be in Austin still next week. I'm going to be here for a couple of weeks. So if you're around, let's grab coffee. But other than that, see you guys next time. And of course, remember to stay charged.